Hard Reuben. Oh my God.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Force Fed Cafe, episode number 20. I cannot believe it's 20. Sorry I'm a bit late with this episode. I just had so much fun listening to my conversation with today's guest. Episode 20. Wow. If you're just joining me, thank you for tuning in, and I hope you like what you hear. If you've been along since the beginning, thank you all for your support and encouragement as I weave my way through the land of podcasts. As I've said before, this podcast is a much overdue labor of love. Something I've been talking about for years, and I just decided that it was time. My interest in music and art and heavy metal coming to life, having conversations with artists that I hope are just a little more than the usual tell me about your new album. You may have noticed, I do try to go deep with my guests. Sometimes we get there, sometimes we don't. But I'm exceedingly grateful for all of the folks who have joined me on this journey. Let's be honest, there are thousands of podcasts for us all to choose from, and I'm grateful that both guests and listeners have given Force Fed Cafe just a little bit of their time. If you haven't done so, please follow me on Instagram at HardRubenOfficial or on Facebook and Twitter at Force Fed Cafe. And please subscribe to the podcast wherever you find your listening pleasure. And feel free to leave a review. I'm eager to see what people think, and I'm always open for suggestions. Let's get to the show. I'm super excited about today's guest. I've heard her called the angelic voice of metal. And if you've heard Anneke Van Giersbergen, you will know this is accurate. But she's so much more than metal. Currently on tour with Amorphous and Delane, Anneke delivers something I never thought I would see. An unbelievably crushing acoustic set at a heavy metal show. Okay. It's all right if you need to hit pause for a minute to let that sink in, but I'm going to say it again. A crushing acoustic set at a heavy metal show. I kid you not, people. She sings songs from throughout her career and from her various collaborations, as well as delivering some of the most surprising and brilliant cover songs imaginable. You have never heard a more unbelievably haunting version of Dolly Parton's classic, Jolene. Wait, am I talking about country? No, I'm not. I gush with a schoolboy's admiration because, damn it, she is just that good. She has a career spanning 25 years that just gets more impressive with each passing year. Starting with her years fronting Dutch prog metal band The Gathering to her wide and varied career, her solo career, and her collaborations. If you're a heavy metal fan, I guarantee you that her voice has mesmerized you. If you're not a heavy metal fan, I promise she will make you reconsider. She has a song for everyone. Thank you to Anneke for taking more than the allotted time to speak to me. I'm grateful to your kindness and generosity. Here's our conversation.
Yeah, my name is Anneke Van Giersbergen, and I was that recorded? Somebody burped over there. I'll go again, right?
That's okay. Go ahead.
Are you editing?
I edit.
Okay. My name is Anneke Van Giersbergen. Yeah, I'm an entity on my own. I have my band and I have my projects. I work with other people, but I do a lot of stuff on my own as well. So there.
You definitely are an entity all on your own. I first heard of you. I have to honestly tell you that I didn't realize I heard of you when The Gathering first became sort of known. I had a radio show in the 90s, heavy metal radio show, and The Gathering actually was a regular play on my list.
Nice.
And so with a lot of bands, you don't necessarily connect with all the musicians in the band right away. You're just, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. So it was years later that I really understood the breadth of your career.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. I'm going to start by saying, and I want to talk about as much of this as we have time for, I feel like you epitomize modern heavy metal and music in that it doesn't matter what your influences are or what music you listen to, you bring it into what you're doing. And in a way that is beyond you can hear it in a lot of bands. You can hear their influences in what they're doing. I feel that in a lot of the work you're doing, you're going beyond these are my influences.
Yeah,
You're bringing the actual styles to what you do a little
nice.
bit more than just I like the Beatles, so I have a Beatle riff. You know,
Yeah.
It's deeper than that.
Yeah.
And I have heard you characterize as the angelic voice of heavy metal,
Right.
and I can't argue that.
Right.
I
Thank you.
think that's fantastic. If you don't mind, I'd like to start a little bit with 1994.
When I was a
21,
child.
I guess,
Yeah.
21,
Yeah,
and
yeah. Something like
we're
that.
only a couple years apart, so it's easy for me to remember
Yeah.
your birth date and all that. You had started singing as a child, an actual child, 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
As you grew, you continued to do that. Can you tell me a little bit how that became your calling?
Yeah, well, I was always listening. I loved music from when I was, a kid. Loved music. And I really grew fond of, like, my thing was vocalists and good vocalists like Ella Fitzgerald, Barbra Streisand, Freddie Mercury, you name them. Like, people with amazing voices. I always, like, was very, they always stood out for me. And when I was a child, and I loved music, listened to music a lot, but also at a young age I loved singing. And then at one point I was like 13, 14, my music teacher in school, he said, you have a good voice, you should take some lessons. So I did. And gradually I thought, well, this is it for me. I love singing. I love singing. I love music. Then I started writing songs on, crappy songs on the guitar. Then I get into bands. So gradually, for me, it was always very natural to be singing, to be dancing, to be making music, to create. So it was also my calling, in a way. So I was thinking, like, if I grow up, I just want to do this. So I did some education, and in those days there was not like a rock school or anything like that. So I did some random stuff, but I was always in bands, always after school, always making music, always in bands. So for me, there's nothing else than this. It was, from the beginning, it was my thing to do in life, in a very natural way. Like, I am passionate about it, and I want to grow, and I want to, make a good career and everything. But I'm not, like, super stressed about it. It's just what I do, and I love it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Has there ever been a time where you, during any of the downs, where you thought, oh, I should maybe get a job, I should do something?
Never.
Wonderful.
I do, however, always think about, am I doing the right thing? Am I going the right course? Am I doing something that fits me in my character? So if you start doing something just because it's popular, or just because your idols are doing it, or just because the fans want it, then you start lying to yourself, right? And lying to your art. And I try to make sure that I don't do that. So that's why I always think about, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing this according to my personality or whatever? And sometimes it gets rough, sometimes you have no money, and sometimes things are difficult, and sometimes the business side is very difficult, the money thing and the whatever. And sometimes it's too much, but I never think about quitting. Never.
Mm-hmm. I asked that question because I was surprised one day. I did an interview with a fellow who, as I grew up listening to these people, I had an expectation that they were successful, that they were doing really well for themselves. And so when I was talking to him, and he said, oh, and at this point I had to go and get a job because I wanted to keep making music.
Yeah,
I had to make that
get
choice,
that.
right?
Yeah.
So you joined the Gathering in 1994 after some training, some schooling.
Yeah.
And some years of experience already.
Yeah.
And 13 years.
Yeah.
13 years you did that.
Yeah.
What prompted you to to start to chart your own course?
A lot of things came kind of together. Like you said, I did that for 13 years, and I wanted to explore my own music. See, I wanted to make a solo album, and I had just had a kid of 2 years, and it's sometimes hard to explain. And I surely couldn't explain this really well to the boys when I left. But it was a matter of the heart. Like it's enough. You know, we weren't a sinking ship. We were very popular. Our tour was really going well, so nobody really understood why I left. But it was a matter of, it's time to do my own thing. It's time to do my own family and my own music and try to interleave all that. And so that was kind of the reason. Just ready to do my own thing. You know, I had so much music to make. I wanted to work with other people. So I started working with Within Temptation, with Devin Townsend, with Moonspell, you know, all the Anathema. And I just love it. I love it so much. You know, I get to make my own agenda, my own music, my own creative outlet. And it was just time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned two things there that I really want to touch on with you. One is I want to talk about your collaboration, because that's been one of the parts of your career that really kept pushing your music into my life, which in turn got me to explore your other things.
Cool.
And so the beauty of that is that I feel, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel that in your solo work, you've really explored all the facets of what you like. There's hard rock, there's jazz, I think of it as acoustic folk a little bit, and all of it intertwines nicely because you're the common thread there.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
your collaborations are also exceptional. The work, I mean, Devin Townsend's a local boy here, right? So
My goodness.
his stuff is fantastic.
Oh my God,
and your pieces there. And I'll tell you that the version of Her Alone that you did, the live night with Amorphous, has become, for me, it's become I want to introduce you to this band.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Right?
Oh, so good.
So
So
I play
good.
that for people, and
So
they
we
go,
help each other out,
and
right?
they go, oh my God, that's beautiful. And I feel that way about a lot of your collaborations, and I
Nice.
wonder if that sort of is any impetus for why you continue to collaborate. Is it that helping expose?
No, because
Different-
for instance, I don't need to expose Devin to anybody. You know, Devin exposes me to a lot of people. No, I really. Sometimes people come to me and ask me to collaborate, and usually I say yes, because I like to explore new grounds, new bands, new scenes, new ways of writing, recording, singing, performing. For instance, with Devin, that was a funny story because I covered a song live from Devin. And I was thinking, I knew he knew me because we were label mates and he knew the gathering and whatnot. And I thought I sent him an email saying, and I had a clip on YouTube covering his song in Chile, in Santiago, Chile. So that was a big crowd. So I thought I can show him this and see how, you know, and tell him I love him and how cool I think he is and I love his music and just share. And then, so I didn't know how to reach him, but I did know one person who had his email. So somebody from a record company. And I sent him an email, and I said, and he's a German guy, and Devin is Canadian, and I'm Dutch. And I sent him an email like, I want to share something with Devin. Can you send me an email, or can you send this through from me? And he said, and then he mailed me back, I'm sitting right next to Devin in Norway.
Nice.
He was in Norway with Devin. And then Devin looked at the clip, and he knew me, and he said, actually, I'm looking for female vocals for my new album. So a few months later, man, I'm in his studio working with him, and I've been working with him ever since. Every now and then he asks me, and whatever he wants me to do, I'm there, dude, because I love him, I love his work, I love his vocals, I love everything. So I'm always on and off working with him. And so I get in all those years that I went solo, it's like 11 years, whatever, 12 years, I accumulated some people that I work with every now and then, like Arjen Lucas, the people from Amorphous. Every now and then I work with him or play live or do the thing on the album. And so now I have all these bands that I'm a little part of, and I do my own thing. And it gives me so much energy and so much inspiration, like working with a vocalist like Tommy, for instance, you know, of Amorphous is such a great thing, you know. Yeah,
His voice is incredible.
It is.
Yeah.
His growling voice and his singing voice and his charisma on stage, and I learn a lot. Yeah, and I watch their show every night because I love him, you know. I don't have to, but I love it anyway.
No, that's wonderful. And if we had more time, I would share a funny story of the first time I got a chance to meet Tommy, because it speaks to that hugeness.
Yeah. Can I film a little bit of our
Absolutely.
for my vlog?
Absolutely.
Are we in the frame? Yes, we are in the frame.
We are in the frame, yes. So I was just talking about you working with Tommy, and like we were talking about his incredible voice and his personality, his persona. I will tell the story because it's funny. I had the opportunity to. I've been an Amorphous fan for 30 years nearly, and I had the chance to coincide a vacation with their tour in 2017. So I saw them in. I bought tickets for 5 shows and followed them around. By the 3rd show, the fellas in Amorphous were all like, hi. Hi again.
Yeah.
And I had the chance to have a couple minutes with Tommy, and in my head, I had this idea. I wanted to say, you've brought to the band such an immense personality. They were always a great band, but you fill the room now.
Totally.
Whatever the room. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, and you're right.
What I said?
Yeah.
I thought you'd be taller.
Really?
Oh, such humiliation.
That's so funny.
I said that, and he looked at me and kind of chuckled and carried on with his day. But I was like,
I know how that feels like.
Things.
Yeah.
You mentioned when you'd gone the solo route, there were business considerations and things like that. And one of the things that it seems to me is that you've made the business of your art a family business. And that really struck home with me, because I know you have 60 Seconds with Anneke, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
But I was watching it, and you had an episode not too long ago where it was just your son talking about what you were up to.
Yeah. He did the voiceover.
Yeah, and I thought, that's beautiful. But
he does it. He never wants to be in the 60 Seconds, because that's why I never post anything with him in it, because he doesn't want to. But I like to, of course, because I'm a proud mother. But he did the voiceover. I was happy with that.
And then your husband manages you? Is that?
He's a musician. He's a wonderful drummer. So he was in my solo band. But then I gradually moved on to arranging everything, doing production work, doing everything. So now he's managing, and we work together every day and all day, and it's fantastic.
So it really is a family business for you. That's fantastic.
And we love it, and we understand each other. And Finn, our son, he's now 14. He goes along, when we play in Holland, we tag, he tags along, and it's just wonderful. Yeah, I'm happy. It's also a thing that I wanted, to intertwine family life with the music life, because it is a way of living. It's not you don't shut the door at 5 o'clock in the evening. You go to dinner with the family. No, it's always ongoing thing, and I wanted that to be one thing,
And I think I've actually mentioned this in a previous episode of my podcast, where I talk to people about that we're at a point that a lot of people into heavy metal are not 20 anymore, myself. And there's children involved, and so heavy metal's become, there's still that heavy metal, that aggression that we love, but
the energy.
There's become a very family, I won't say oriented, but family-friendly atmosphere to
totally.
it. And I personally, the 90s were kind of bleak for heavy metal in North America. You talked about Devin. Devin's fantastic. He's amazing. And in Canada and in North America, he wasn't quite as amazing or fantastic as he was everywhere else in the world.
Right.
And I think it's it's to our shame that that's the case. Yeah. But if it wasn't for Europe, we wouldn't have such a powerful, strong heavy metal community right now.
Right, it is.
And one of the changes that came with that was that family friendly sort of aspect.
It's true, because this scene is it's like a brotherhood, and sometimes people come up to me and they say, "Oh, I'm so happy you're on national television." In Holland, I have a little bit more mainstream career. And they say, finally, the metalheads, and they're going to be on national television. And if I do something on national television, it's never metal. It's always like singing acoustically or somebody else's songs or whatever in an interview. But I say, I don't really mind not being mainstream with the metal stuff, because it is a big scene. You can grow out to be huge, look at, Within Temptation or whatever, in the metal scene, but still it feels like a brotherhood. People take, like you said, your their kids to a metal concert because nobody in the audience is doing something else than anything else than listen to the music. They have a beer, they enjoy it. We talk about things. We talk about the lyrics. We talk about the music. We talk about the depth in the music and all the layers in the lyrics. And we share our emotions. We share our feelings because we are brothers. And I don't need that scene to be even bigger than it already is. It's a niche, I understand. But I don't mind if my neighbor doesn't listen to metal music, you know. I love this brotherhood that we have, you know. And so I think it's important to realize how beautiful this scene is and how well we understand each other. And you ask me questions that go somewhere, that mean something, rather than a mainstream interview is different. You know, it's about what's your favorite color. And it's fine. I love it. I love all of it, and I love having a platform in any way I can. But I feel at home in metal and prog and rock music.
Hey gang, you feeling sluggish? Trying to find some energy for the gym or wishing you could shed a few pounds and are struggling to find just the thing to help you? Then check out High on Life Superfoods. High on Life is the leading provider of hemp-based, nutrient-rich supplements intended to instill optimal health to those who wish to perform at the next level. Listen, I'm not just talking here. I use High on Life products myself. LIT is an amazing hemp-based, vegan, raw food blend that helps reset your body's nutrient balance and kickstarts your metabolism to get you going through the day. Use it as a shake, in a smoothie, or try my favorite. Mix it up with some cold coconut milk and cocoa, and voila, LIT ice cream. Do your body a favor, everyone. Go to highonlifesuperfoods.com and enter the code ForceFed10 on checkout to receive 10% off your order. But don't just listen to me. High on Life is used by some of your favorite bands: Suffocation, Trivium, Dark Angel, Testament, Body Count, and many more. These guys know what it means to need to keep up their metal pace. Try it and you will see the difference. I have. highonlifesuperfoods.com. Get it. So I just have a couple more things that I want to ask you about. One of them is, we've touched on it a little bit in terms of the various influences that people may have and bring to their music. But I saw that you had an opportunity to go to Paisley Park.
Oh, yeah.
To the Prince Museum.
Yeah.
I had two thoughts about that post because you mentioned that you were the only one there, so you got a private tour.
Totally.
And how fantastic is that?
My goodness.
But I have to honestly tell you, I had a moment of, is Paisley Park in trouble if there's only one person that's trying to go that day?
No, because before me there was 2 tours, they were sold out, and after me I saw 10 people waiting at the gate. So I think they do smaller tours, but they do 4 times a day, and that was the last day that was possible. And I was there on that day. In the middle of the night, after a few whiskeys, I thought, I'm going to buy a ticket. And I went, and I was the only one. It was amazing. And I wanted to go for 20 years. I've been a Prince fan all my life.
Somebody like Prince, I've always had a lot of respect for Prince. I mean, when I was a 14-year-old boy, I did not like that fellow.
Of course.
But of course, you know, I adapted. And now, after his passing, it's becoming clear that there are a lot of heavy metal people that idolize this individual, and I think that's fantastic. You know, and it's we've gotten to the point it's not embarrassing to talk about I love Duran Duran as a 14-year-old boy, right? But I also love Judas Priest. So it's sort of.
But now you're mentioning all kinds of bands and artists who go deep.
Yeah.
So in terms of Prince, you know, he was a fantastic producer, songwriter, lyric writer, guitar player, singer, everything, you know, arranger. So and a metalhead and a prog head like yourself is open-minded. So we see the beauty in other people's music. Sometimes I say, oh, I love the voice of Celine Dion. She's a genius singer, genius. I don't really love her genre of music, not super much, but I can find a genius in her voice. And when you really listen to her singing, like everything, like the phrasing, like the tonality, the melodic stamp that fingerprints that she has, the way she holds a note, the way she never sings a false note, I think I can enjoy that so much. But if you tell another, you know, rockhead or whatever, then say, oh, Celine Dion, but she's a genius. So Prince is a genius. Duran Duran is a band that made beautiful pop music, but But people really enjoy, metalheads know about other scenes. People in other scenes don't know necessarily about metal or
That's
any
right.
other thing. And so we are.
That's right.
You know.
So I'd like to finish off with just talking about your last year. I mean, you're an incredibly busy person. You, in the last couple years, you've put out two albums of your own, or with your gear.
Yeah.
And the latest was Symphonized.
Yep.
And I see that you've got some tour dates coming up with the symphony when you get back to.
Yeah. With different orchestras,
Yeah.
I'm doing stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, initially that orchestra asked me to participate in just one evening of crossover music. So sometimes they ask somebody from pop world or hip hop world to collaborate, and then you make a set list and you do one evening, and they have like the crossover classical with pop, blah blah blah. So they asked me, and then I was on the verge of my 25-year anniversary year. And I said, let's do that together, and then let's make the set list all about my 25-year career. So from Gathering On until now, everything in between, Devin song, whatever. I didn't do a Devin song, by the way, but lots of other stuff. Did I? No, I didn't. So we made a set list, and we did that show. And then another, like it sold out, and then another venue wanted that show. So we did that, sold out. And then we made an album of it. So it became much more elaborate than like what they normally do. Because it caught on. So like in the mainstream world, but also like all the metal crowd came to see it. So that was super cool. And I feel very much at home in an orchestra, because it's like metal music. It's intense,
Absolutely.
50 people behind you making music. It's intense and it's very energetic. So I loved it. And now there's a few other orchestras I'm working with in the coming days, weeks, months. And I'm doing theater shows with them, like my own songs, but also some classical stuff and something else. So I'm working on that. So now on this tour, I have to prepare for all those shows. So I'm learning a lot of songs, man, during the day. I'm hovering through lyrics and songs. And
You must have an incredible memory for that.
and I don't. It's horrible. And it takes me so long. And like remembering lyrics is a bitch. I'm sorry.
I get it.
But if I listen to a song, I can easily get it in my system. But lyrics are, damn it, I'm covered in papers and but I love it. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Yeah.
Wonderful. So let's just can we give people your social media addresses?
Yeah.
Where people can find you.
Actually,
and your merchandise and your music.
Well, AnnekeVanGiersbergen.com. You can find everything on there, like my shop. Thank you, by the way. And I'm very active on Instagram, and my name is Anneke Aniek on Instagram, but you can find me on Facebook and all the whole thing.
And I'll post it as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
You
Anneke.
too.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks. Awesome.
Hey, thanks everyone for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed our conversation. If you haven't heard her, run out and listen to as much Anneke as you can. You can support her by going to AnnekeVanGiersbergen.com. She has a great web store where you can purchase her music and check out her blog. Or you can find her on YouTube at Aqua de Anneke Music, and she's got lots of great videos there that are just a blast to watch. Or you can check her out on Instagram at Anneke, and just so that nobody is worried, I will post all of these in the description of the show so that you can check her out. Thank you for listening. See you next time. Horns up.